Some identities you're going to have to hold on, like your passport, your name, and so on. That's okay. But transcend above them. So what you're relinquishing here is the self-identity, the concept of the self. And then you look at the seeker. And this is where you turn the seeker inside out. You use the seeker now to master the 10 corrections. You're going to be using the seeker to do the workbook. So you make the seeker work for you now, but there'll come a time when you come face to face with the seeker throughout the workbook, like Solvay's doing, and then that'll be the time to let it go. You'll see it before you let it go. It's by seeing it that you let it go. And it's the same with the false masks, okay, that we wear. We reinterpret them now. We look at the truth with them. For example, the fixer. There's a big mask that a lot of people have. I can fix you. I know how to fix you. You can't fix anybody. Period. No one can fix anybody else. So you bring the truth to these masks. You bring the truth to the thinker. Who is the thinker? I don't think. Eliminate it completely. Because you need to prepare yourself for the workbook. Because you're going to be letting go of judgment. You're going to be letting go of understanding as you go through the early workbook. It's not nice. You know, you're going to want to judge, and you are going to judge, but then correct that judgment as you're doing the workbook. You know, so it's all about the correction. So the relinquishment process, even though it's in this section, it continues till you're finished the workbook. Because as you're going through the workbook, you're going to be relinquishing more and more of the false image. You're going to be relinquishing level 1, which means you're going to be detaching. Another word for relinquishment is detachment. It's the same as forgiveness. Okay? So, it comes then to the image that you see in the mirror. And this is a daily practice of looking at this. And when you look at this image, instead of reinforcing this image as who you are, reinforce that this image as who you're not. And see, you will experience the image you see in the mirror differently. It'll be kind of you'll be looking from truth now. You'll actually get a picture from the observer, and you'll have a different perspective of how you see that image. In other words, you'll have a different perspective of how you see yourself. You keep doing this, you keep looking at that image, reinforce the truth. This is not who I am, this is just a vehicle. This is a body that I'm using in this world, in a physical world, to get from A to B, to learn, to facilitate my learning. That's all it is. And at the end of this life, I'm gently going to let this body go. That's the truth. So you're relinquishing the very false image itself. Because from the first time you looked in a mirror, you thought that that was you. And you've reinforced that to yourself over and over and over again. And this is why you've taken on different masks. Because maybe you don't like what you see. Maybe you didn't get what you wanted with this image, so you made this image better. You changed this, you done this, you changed this, you done this, and so on. And this is natural in this world. Okay, so you're relinquishing how you see yourself. And this is you setting the body free and setting yourself free. And will take you in that shift that you need to go into the workbook, because the workbook takes you into the observer. Okay? So that's the process of the undoing, sort out, relinquish. Anybody, any questions on that? Abby? Wonderful, wonderful. Trying to fix the time. Right, we've 14:35. Right, we're just going to shoot through this, and then we'll finish up a little bit early, and we can have a bit of tea before people shoot off, yeah? So what I want to do now is vision, and I want to show you how simple vision is. And then we're going to finish off with the miracle, so we're not going to be too long. Alright, here's a little story that I use with my students, and I use this so that they can begin to see the truth in the stories that are around us. So I'll just read it out to you gently, right? Mary is a typical housewife. She's been married for 10 years but is unhappy. She says that her husband loves her deep down but does not support her emotionally. They argue a lot on a weekly basis. And here Mary and have many arguments about finances, about the children, welfare, regarding education and religion. He will also not do any housework or even help with the children. So this is kind of a general story that you would hear some of your friends talking about. Okay, wouldn't it be? You all can relate to the story, yeah? Yeah? So let's look.
This is the story.
No, this could be any one of many stories. But what I want to show you here what vision is. How simple it is to see the metaphysics behind the truth, the facts. And that's what metaphysics deals with. It deals with facts, right? Mary is a typical housewife. That's okay, that's a statement. There's not really much depth in that. Okay, it's just an identity. She has been married for 10 years but is unhappy. Well, now that tells us a lot. Anybody? What does it tell us who Mary is? Mary's been seeking for love externally. She entered into a marriage and she was seeking for happiness in that marriage, yes? So she's the seeker. Okay? And as we learned from yesterday, everything you seek for, you... Huh?
You keep.
You get.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
Seriously? Is there anybody listening to me at all? Everything you seek for, you will be a victim of.
Oh yeah, no, this is thing.
So Mary has been married for 10 years, which means, and she's unhappy, so which is really saying, I've been seeking for happiness in this marriage, and I'm a victim of it. Okay? She says that her husband loves her deep down, but does not support her emotionally. What's the metaphysics of that? Does her husband love her deep down? Anybody? Is there such a thing?
No. He hates her.
Huh?
She hates her and he hates her.
Well, it's a special relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. So the love that she thinks is deep down is the love that he's denying her. But he's denying love to himself. So, but he does not support her emotionally. Now, this is the first honest thing that John basically has done for Mary. If John supports Mary emotionally, he's taken on half of her pain body. Okay? So it's like that other one, Mary is angry with John. Okay? The part that he didn't put on it was because he will not support her emotionally. Okay? So let me reinterpret the story, right? What Mary wants to do is give John half her guilt through affiliation. Support me. And John's saying, no, fuck off. And Mary said, all right, fuck you, I'm going to give you all my guilt. And she was going to do that anyway, no matter what he done. So that's what's happening when you say you don't support me. Is this person wants to give you something that's not very nice, you're saying, I'm not interested here, I ain't taking that all on, and the person's going to give you it all. That's what their intention was all along. Okay, so you can see the truth in this. Okay, and they argue a lot on a weekly basis. The truth, the metaphysics of that is, that means that both of them are feeling very guilty, both of them are using displacement with each other, both of them are trying to get rid of their guilt onto each other. That's the metaphysics, that's the facts of what's really happening. Irrelevant of the story. Because if you look at it with the ego, then you get on who's right, who's wrong. Alright, and then depending on who's right and wrong, you have who's good and who's bad. That's the ego's logic. So here what they do, what they rationalise now, and they have many arguments about, underline about, because that's where the rationalisation comes in. What's this about? And of course it's about money, it's about the children, it's about welfare, education, and religion. These are all projections, rationalisations. It's not about that. What I said, what it's really about is both are in denial of their guilt, both are trying to get it on, both are trying to get into the good room. If they only knew what was in the good room. You know, and then people end up in a lot of fear in the good room, and they're trying to get out, but where do you go then? You're doing everything you can to get away from that other room. I mean, this is why people are trapped in fear. There's no place to go after that. And that's where the ego really has you by the short and curlies. You know, when you end up in fear, because fear is debilitating, there's nowhere to go after that. So this is all about rationalizations here. That's what vision will show you. Okay? And he will also not do any housework or even help with the children. Okay? And this is basically, what is it? What's happening there? Conditions. This is part of the conditional relationship. You do this, I do this, you do this, you do that. So this story can
It's
go.
also part of the rationalization for the anger.
Yeah. So you can see now when you break all of this down that you can basically start to see the metaphysics. This is what self-discovery. When you get to, this will be section 2 of self-awakening, the last section. So when you get to this section, you'll have learned all of these here in self-discovery. You'll have learned displacement, affiliation, projection, denial, suppression. These are all the tools that you're going to be learning for vision. So if we quickly just go on to here. Okay, Mary goes to the gym twice a week to relieve stress and emotion, and receives emotional support from her 2 friends who join her there. So what that tells you is the gym twice a week to relieve stress is sublimation. Okay, and then she relieves her emotional support. This is affiliation. Okay. So she's sublimating this anger and this guilt, and then she's also using affiliation to get rid of a lot of it. And this is why she'll feel better and better. And this is what we're all constantly doing. You know, we're all attached to the thought systems and guilt and fear. We're all basically attached to the emotions of that, and they're not nice. We're trying to get rid of them. We're trying to make ourselves feel better all the time. So Mary says that if she had not got her friends to confide in, she would go and see it. And that's true. That is true. You know, emotional support is very important to people that at that level. Because if you take that away from them, you know, they have nothing left. So it's not about telling people, no, that you stop. This happens when you're ready for this to happen. If you're not ready for this to happen, don't tell people to drop these tools until they're properly prepared. Because these are crutches for people. You know, these are the only things, even though they're causing a lot of harm, to not have these would be even more harmful. Okay, because these do make them temporarily feel better every now and again. And that's important. If you don't take that away from people before they're ready for self-mastery, before they're ready for another way to deal with problems and situations. So that's basically all about affiliation there. It's a very important tool to people, you know, like AA is very important affiliation. You have the Samaritans that people can ring up, and you know, there's groups out there that people need to talk to and affiliate with, and that's important. Her husband is in a very successful job, and his boss is the bully who gives him much heartache at work. Okay, the metaphysics of this line here is basically what? He's playing the victim. The husband is playing the victim, yeah. And the passive aggressive, because he's getting a hard time at work. This is his 7th job in 10 years. He seems to always have problems at work. And well, what's that?
Leaps for another.
And has to leave for another job. So this here will tell you what problem has he got? What problem? What's the biggest problem in the course? The authority problem. So this guy has an authority problem with his bosses. So this is why he's basically now his boss is giving him a hard time. He's using passive aggressive here because he wants to keep his job. Okay? So here comes the effects of this next in the story. Okay? After every second day he goes home from work and takes it out on her and the kids. What's the name of that? Course calls this displacement. And displacement is basically where you pass on your shit to someone else. But it always, it's like the army, starts with the general, shit comes down the way. Doesn't go up the way. So displacement is where you're always looking for someone who's less threatening. So her husband will not confront her boss in case he gets sacked. Because he's lost so many jobs, probably confront them. So now he's using passive aggressive, keeps it inside. And if you use passive aggressive, you have to do one of 2 things as an effect. You have to use sublimation or displacement. And he's using displacement here. He simply will not confront his boss, and he fears he will get sacked. So that's his justification for this. So you can see now in vision how everything, the truth of any story can be revealed to you. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? Isn't it really simple?
Yeah, when you tell
If
it.
you know,
When you tell it, it seems
yeah, but that's
simple,
just because I've learned the system, I've learned how it works and all that. I mean, anybody can do this. But the benefits of this is this: someone comes to tell you a story, you're going to see the truth in that story in an instant. It's going to set you free from any emotional attachment, any projections. You know, it doesn't matter who comes to you, what, you're going to see the truth in that story in an instant. You can turn on the TV, you'll hear two people talking, you'll see who's talking the truth, who's not talking the truth. You know, it's vision is a no, but you're going to see what everybody else sees, but you're going to think what nobody else thinks. That's what vision is. Okay then, right, we're going to finish up now, and we're going to give someone a miracle. Would you like that?
Yeah.
Yeah? And I'm going to show you how to do this miracle. And you're going to register this as a miracle. Okay, and we're going to do it in one that's all of us together. So I'm going to pick something that we're all familiar with, and this is what I want you to do. Remember, there's a formula for the miracle.
Gotta give it to you.
Use them all.
They use the whole, yeah. You need some new ones.
No, we'll find one.
You got only one left.
Yeah, they're all over there. Use the whiteboard. They're out there.
Use this. Okay. Right.
Michael, do you want me to tear it off
You
and
can
turn it
turn
back
it,
to
yeah.
front
Yeah.
and tape it on?
Just turn it around, yeah.
It's all
Yeah. Take it all off, you can turn it around. Yeah.
Right. Miracle. The formula for the miracle is this. Because the formula for the miracle had to be simple. And you can't get more simpler than this. Okay? And let me demonstrate to you now how we can use the miracle in a short story before we attempt to do it ourselves. Okay, here's our story again. Mary is angry with John. The truth of this story is Mary is trying to displace, get rid of her guilt and put it on to John. That's an attack, that's it. That's the ancient hatred that Jesus is talking about at the beginning of the course when he's describing the miracle. He describes a miracle where an ancient hatred becomes a present love. That's the miracle. And that's what we're going to do now. So to understand this, Mary is hating John with her guilt, attacking John. So to turn this into a present love, for Mary now to give John the miracle, is to free John from this projection which belongs to her. So what Mary does is Mary closes her eyes, feels this anger. Because if you don't feel it, you're going to intellectualize it. If you intellectualize it, it's not a miracle. So you go back into, you see, you can time travel at any time you want. You can try time travel 50 years, just like that, going back to your childhood. You can go back to any experience at any time and experience that experience. You can feel it. And if you can do that, that means you're still attached to that experience. And if you can feel that experience, and it's not nice, it's not pretty, look who you're projecting it onto. Now you can set yourself free from that attachment by going into that experience. Let's say it's anger. Okay? You're projecting your guilt onto that person. You can feel that anger, which means you can feel the guilt. And now you bring that feeling, that emotion, to the cause, and all you do is this effect that I feel in my body, this anger I feel in my body is an effect of a cause in my mind, which is guilt. You're bringing the truth to the situation. So what happens now is the anger in the body, that emotion attachment in the body, comes back into the mind, or you're bringing it to the cause, which is guilt. Now when you have it at the cause, you bring it to the truth. Where is the truth of all guilt? It's coming from the belief in separation. When Mary does this with John, she is giving John the miracle. Because that's love. She's bringing truth to the situation. So she gives John the miracle. And that miracle now will come to her and will be given in whatever form that's most helpful, most needed that you need at this moment in time. Because when you're finished with the Course in Miracles, this is what you're going to be doing with the rest of your life. You're going to be giving miracles every day, and you're going to know you're giving miracles, and you are going to receive miracles back every day. Every single day. And the miracle transcends everything. There's no sickness, there's no instant, there's no basically event or person. Miracle. Remember in the principle of miracles, there's no order of difficulty in miracles. Which means no miracle is more difficult than another. Healing a cold is the same as healing cancer. If you think there's a big difference between the two, then you're thinking with the ego and the hierarchy of illusions. There's no difference. I haven't been sick in 8 years. There's no sickness on level 2. I'm not saying that someday my body will get sick and die, of course. I've already chosen how that's going to happen, and that will occur to give lessons to those people who are left behind. That's not what I'm talking about. But what I'm talking about, until that day comes, I won't even suffer that day. Because there's no suffering on level 2. The body will disintegrate and fall away, but there'll be no suffering. And that's a big difference. You might have pain at that time, but you won't suffer. Okay? So, by Mary bringing the anger to the cause, which is guilt in her mind, she is now giving John the miracle, and the miracle comes back. So here's what I want to do with each of us now. I want you to pick someone in your mind who you've been angry with. And you're going to remember this as your first guaranteed miracle where you set out with the intention, I'm going to do a miracle. Okay? And we're going to go through this, and you're going to practice this every day, because we all need miracles to get out of level 1. And if you think you need a miracle to get out of level 1, then start giving them, because that's where your greatest help's going to come from. Don't be thinking you have to do all this yourself. You'll get shifts every time you give miracles to someone. You'll get shifts. You'll be propelled forward. How could you not? Because you're choosing truth, you're choosing God, you're choosing oneness, you're choosing love, you're choosing honesty. I mean, this is what it's all about, and you will be helped every step of the way. Your path will be made as easy as possible for you, because it's you just making it easy. You're choosing to do this. You can easily choose to use all the ego's tools, wear all the ego's masks, wear all the ego's images if you want, and life will become very difficult and very hard. You know, it comes down to choice at the end of the day here. You know, you have 10 corrections, which is going to make your life wonderful, into the happy dream. Or you can choose the ego, right mind, right and wrong, good and bad. That doesn't work. It hasn't worked for anybody. There's no happiness there, there's no peace there. It's not designed for that. Those thoughts don't exist there. So what I want you to do now is think of a person, and I'm going to take you through a little guided meditation. Both feet on the ground, eyes closed, and I want you to go back in and get a good picture of the person you're going to give this miracle to. And this is love. This is true love. This is you learning to give love. This is you learning to create. Because that's what love is. That's what creation is. It's the extension of love. And the miracle is an extension of love in this world, in this physical world, right here. So think of the person now that you want to give this miracle to. This ancient hatred. And that's what anger is. It's an ancient hatred. And I want you to feel that anger, maybe that circumstance at that time. It's important that we feel this attachment. It's emotions. You have it. It belongs to you. You're still attached to it. It's inside you. Bring it into awareness. Feel that anger. It's okay. Allow yourself to feel it. And when you feel it, hold it. Hold it. Become one with it. Don't try to blame. Don't try to project. Just hold that energy. Possess it. Become one with it. This is my energy. It belongs to me. It does not come from this other person. This other person is not responsible. I'm responsible. Dive into the middle of it. We don't need the story, we just need the energy. Stay with it just for a few more seconds. And now in your mind, have these thoughts around this energy. This energy comes from my mind. This anger comes from the thought of guilt in my mind. We make the effect and the cause the same. We make them one. We bring anger and the thought of guilt together. This is the true cause of my anger. And just hold it for a few moments. Hold the anger and the thought of guilt together. You're bringing the effect and the cause together in oneness. And now in your mind, we're going to bring the cause to the truth. This guilt, this thought in my mind, this anger, comes from my belief in the separation. The belief in separation is the cause of all guilt in my mind. And I choose to let this go. I choose to let this anger go. And you allow it to leave. You give it permission to leave. This is not true. This belief is not true. This guilt is not true. This anger is not true. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And that's it. That's the miracle. That's an ancient hatred becoming a present love. That's the correction. You're not trying to deal with the anger, the illusionary problem. The real problem is the guilt in your mind. The ego wants you to feel bad about the anger, correct the anger, do whatever you want with the anger. That's the illusionary problem. That's the distraction. The real problem is the guilt in your mind. And you bring that problem, the real problem, to the truth, to the answer which is always the belief in separation. So the sequence to this, the sequence to the miracle is, again, you're attached to all of these emotions here and you're projecting them onto people. So as you go through the undoing process, what you're really doing also, you're also doing the miracle. That's why I said I would come back to that in the undoing process. That is what the undoing process is. It's your now willingness to give miracles instead of hate. It's your willingness now for unconditional love rather than conditional love. It's your willingness now for God rather than the ego, for oneness rather than separation. Is there any questions on that? Happy?
Yes.
Simple? Clear?
Yes.
Specific? Thank you very much everybody for coming. It's been a wonderful 2 days. We're going to finish up now because I know some people have to go early and I want us to spend some time before people leave, or people want to stay and people need to go, that's okay. So we'll get a cup of tea now, we can sit outside and have a chat for a while, or if you need to go, that's okay also.
We could not come.